Oh, hey, it helps if I actually add myself to the broadcast, don't it? Crap. So anyway, put this down over there because we're going to be working on that. Got some new ducts. Very slight, minor changes. So I got to glue them together. And what's up, Tanner? What are you doing? You want to jump in? Anybody want to jump in? Tanner can jump in. I like it when Tanner jumps in. He's actually an intelligent person to talk to. How is life, Ricky Lee Tanner? So, new ductwork. Very, very slight changes, but I have noticed that I've kind of over designed my design. What's up, Mr. Buttram? And the whole concept of this cooling duct was to get the air on the other side of the nozzle. Well, I guess I did a little too good because it's not hitting on this side of the nozzle, on the front side. So I made this a little longer on the side, and I made this step back a little so there's more air at the front. We'll see. I think I'm getting too much back pressure anyways. I think I need to make these a little bigger altogether, fatter, get some more airflow in there. There's a Tanner, or there was a Tanner. There he is.
What's going on, man?
Same old, playing with my printer. Here, I gotta do this one because I don't like these long, tall ones. So I gotta put my little banner up because today's the last day I have StreamYard's ticker. There you go. Because they went to hit my account and it's $25 a month for StreamYards, and I had $13 in my account. So needless to say, didn't go through. So if I'm going to keep full on StreamYards, I need some money. So if anyone would like to help me keep StreamYards for another month, there's how. That sounded like a Mac thing. You don't have Macs, I thought. iPhone.
Notification.
Without my glasses, and that's really stupid because I have no idea what the hell I'm doing here. I can't see a damn thing. Because I'm old and blind. And I can't see anything up close. My glasses are right here. So I should probably just put them on, huh? And that looks like it's lining up pretty darn good. So, now that it's been glooped, I will let it sit for a few minutes and then we'll mount it up. It's gloopy. It's been glooped. So what are you up to, man? How's life in general?
Hanging in there.
Know that feeling.
They're going to start reopening our state on May 1st.
That's funny.
The governor's caving to all the people who are
dumbasses. Yeah.
Like so, when we get a second spike of infections and deaths.
Yeah, have you seen that thing about in 1946 or 47, whatever it was, when the World War II ended? That, there was a virus going around, man. I don't remember. I think it was Ebola or something. I don't know. But it's going around on Facebook. I don't know how true it is. It may be a BS like half of the stuff is. But at the end of the war, they wanted to celebrate. So they had kind of the same thing we have now. They had a lockdown because of the virus. And they opened it up, and the virus killed 3 times as many people 2 weeks after the war ended than like one of the major battles did.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. I mean, I get it, but let's see. What I don't get, and I'm not going to get into politics or anything, but
No.
these people who think one reality star TV guy is more intelligent than the hundreds of thousands of medical professionals. Right? I mean, am I wrong here?
No, just seeing all the people that are out and protesting at the capitals to reopen the states and all that, and I'm like, you people don't seem to be taking this seriously.
Yeah.
You know, there was one headline that says, I forget which state it was. It says that we're overreacting. I'm like, ask the families of the 170,000 people that are dead.
Yeah.
If we're overreacting.
Yep.
I mean, I understand wanting to get back to work. I want to get back to work,
Yeah.
but I don't want to get back to work at the cost of my life or someone in my family's life.
Yeah. Or just plain being sick. I mean, I've been talking to my neighbor. She got 3 days off. She was forced to take 3 days off by the state because she's working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. She works in a rest home, which is actually letting off to get it on the other side because the number one deaths in Connecticut, all the deaths in Connecticut have been in rest homes. So everyone's pulling their parents out of the rest home. So she's
one of the counties here has had 27 deaths, and of those 27, 13 of them were in one nursing home. Yeah.
So everyone's pulling everyone out of the nursing homes, which is good in a way because, one, it gets them away from the virus, and two, it's just good to have people. Now, a lot of people are push their parents in rest homes because they just didn't want to deal with them.
Right.
So, yeah. It's in a way it's a good thing, but the way people die with this, the lack of breath, the inability to breathe, watching them struggle, she goes, is just the most miserable thing you'll ever see.
Yeah, I'm like,
even when they don't die, she's had a couple already that they think, I mean, they're not 100%, but they've taken them off respirators and everything, and she's like, watching the misery of them for a week straight is just, I mean, they can't even send normally someone in that condition. They send to the hospital, but the hospital's sending them the patients because the hospitals are over full and now the nursing homes are almost empty. Most of the nursing homes around here are like 75% empty now.
One of the
I don't know the exact number. I'm just making
right. One of the people that survived it was talking about it on a video that I saw, and they were talking about that basically you couldn't rest because you had to stay awake and focus on breathing.
Yeah. I mean, these people, they're putting like freaking tubes in their lungs and stuff to keep them breathing and rolling them over on their stomachs. And, they got to keep rolling them over even though so that I guess the fluid's building up in the lung and you don't want it to sit in one spot or some.
Well, and that's where they said you have to get up and move around if you're at all capable. Otherwise, it will just keep claiming more and more of your lungs.
Right. It just settles in your lung, just whatever. Anyway, enough of that. No more political crap. Sure, Steven, you can take the control of the ticker as long as it's not a political statement or something that's offensive to anyone. But sure, I'll let you use the ticker for a week, say, whatever you want, within reason. No more, please. No more what? Political BS.
Yeah, well, and it's not even political. This virus doesn't care which party you're affiliated with. It doesn't care what your nationality is.
Yeah, but anyway, let's get back on to 3D printing because that's enough depression crap.
Yeah.
So what are you printing? Anything fun? How's your little jet going? Are you done with that thing yet?
That's done. That's all done. I'm working on another version of the Rep Ranger right now.
Oh yeah, I think I saw you posting about something. You broke something and had to gloop it.
Yeah, this is the biggest tires I've managed to put on them yet, the biggest and widest, and this is as big as they can possibly go without lowering the axle.
Yeah, are those actual PLA tires, or are you printing out a TPU or something?
No, they're just PLA.
Yeah, I'm done. We're done talking about the coronavirus. Anyway, yeah. So
I'm not seeing the chat. Where are you seeing chat from?
you go over to the chat. It says comments up in the top right corner. And you gotta go to the live comments.
Oh, that's coming from. Are you streaming on Twitch and YouTube at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Only because I got the full.
Because I've got the Twitch chat open over here, and I kept looking over the Twitch chat, and I'm going, I don't see.
No, everything's YouTube. If you use the StreamYard's chat, you'll get both. It's just delayed.
I didn't know it did that, so that's cool.
Yeah. I was thinking about just going to Twitch, but nobody seems to like the interface. The thing about Twitch is if I can get 50 people to go over there, they actually start paying you.
Yeah.
The other thing I don't like about Twitch is it doesn't save your live streams like YouTube does.
No. Yeah.
Once the live stream's over, it's gone. So there's no reviewing of it later.
But, I mean, honestly, how many people go back and rewatch a live stream anyway?
You'd be surprised. I was surprised. All my live streams, when I watch them, I get my 10 or 15 people that'll come in and bounce in and out. And yet all of my live streams at the end of the week have 50 or 60 views.
Huh.
So 30 or 40 people are going back and watching it later. And I've got to say, I've gone back. I won't sit and watch a live stream. But a lot of times, if there's something going on or I heard about something that happened, I'll go back and scan through it and watch, 5 minutes of it here and there. That I have done.
The only live streams I go back and watch are things like I'll go back and rewatch watch because I didn't catch it last night.
What's my PayPal? It's
like the
llama@gmail.com. Sorry.
Like the hot makes stream that happened last night. I missed it. I remembered it was happening it was like 6:58 and I was like, do they run for 1 hour or 2? And so I come in here and I opened up YouTube and I went to the hot makes thing and I was like, and it was everybody saying bye. I went, oh.
Yeah, that I didn't watch that either last night. I haven't really watched any live streams in the last couple of days. I haven't been feeling that great, which is funny because I've been going outside working in the yard because the weather's been halfway decent, and I'm fine when I'm outside. The minute I stop and come back inside and take a shower and sit down, I just felt not sick, just drawn out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like I slept for like 14 hours straight on Saturday. I barely got up. I'd wake up and roll over and use my little iPad and, read Twitter or YouTube or whatever. But I really didn't do much of anything Saturday or Sunday, both days really. And yesterday I didn't. But both days I went outside. I worked for like 3 hours yesterday out in the yard. Came in, was like drawn out. I wonder if it's just because I am going outside and I'm so freaking fat that I'm overworking myself. I am fat, boy. I noticed that I was working on one of the banks out in the yard. I got like a bank and trying to go up that freaking bank. I was huffing and puffing. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Am I that fat? I'm like, yep, yes I am. I am that fat. Which that crap's got to go away. I'm going to have to start exercising again or something. Trying to get my mother to clear out the room next door, and I was going to put my Bowflex in there, and actually I was going to put the printers in there too. But she only got about half cleared out, and my brother's disappeared because, everything in the world. So I may just set it up in there, even though it's only half clean, because there should be enough room for me to get in there with it. I was hoping to get everything cleared out so I could put these things on, not have them in my bedroom. I actually wanted to move everything out of here, the computer and everything, get it all out of my room. If I could have that little, because it's a tiny little room. It's only like 10 by 10. 10 by 11, I think. I don't think it's that big. I think it's 9.5. Whatever, it's tiny. And if I could get everything over there.
Steven missed your PayPal address.
It's right there. 3D printing llama at gmail.com. I thought I gave it to him.
He missed it.
See, it's right there scrolling. PayPal 3D printing llama
it
at
is.
gmail.com. Lightspeed's awesome. I like him. There's a lot of people that I've noticed. The community is kind of getting to the point where people are starting to piss each other off. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that piss me off sometimes are the fun ones. That makes sense. I mean, I know, like, just not to pick on him specifically, but he's a well-known hyper person. Is Tim from TH3D. And a lot of people like won't buy from TH3D because of him. And it's like, you know what? Tim is definitely boastful and outgoing, and he freaking will say it and rant a lot. But you know what? The one thing I always give it credit for is he always tries to do it he's trying to do something positive. You know what I mean? He's not doing it just to be a jerk. He's not a troll. He's trying to point out something. He just does it aggressively, which some people don't like. And I forgot to open these holes. Ooh, they do fit. I didn't think they were going to slide in. I was thinking I was going to have to open these up. But I guess I don't. I guess I did do it right. Oh, you know what? The last time I did it, I think I opened them up. Because they're going right in there. This is the new one, right? Yep. Oh, where's my little screw for this one? The little mounty mount. So, needless to say, I'm going to try a new air duct. And on top of that, I had to go shopping again today. I went yesterday and forgot a whole bunch of stuff. And my mother texts me literally as I'm coming in the driveway and goes, "Oh, there's a prescription you got to pick up too." It's like, I'm already home. So I went back out today because the other thing I've learned is don't go shopping on a Monday at the grocery store because they don't get deliveries on the weekends. When I went Monday morning, the place was gutted. I was like, I couldn't get anything. There was literally nothing there. I mean, even the stuff that's normally like fruits and vegetables, we haven't had a problems with. And there was nothing yesterday. I mean, there was no fruit. I couldn't get a freaking banana. I couldn't get a watermelon. I couldn't get an orange. I couldn't get any apples. Today, the place was fully stocked. The only thing that was still short was rice and like pasta. And the pasta aisle, this is a cool one. The pasta aisle has been dead for so long now. They moved it in our, it's a little itty bitty store because it's a small town.
Right.
And they gutted the pasta aisle and the paper aisles, moved them so they're on one. And that's now where you wait to go to the cash register because you can't wait at the cash register. You have to wait in the aisle.
Right.
So they have one empty aisle now that everyone lines up to get to the cash register. That's kind of screwy. God, I designed this thing well. Too bad it's not working perfectly. Everything fits, though. Gotta get the airflow just right. And this thing slides in there nice, snug, but not too tight. I guess after, I don't know, I think I've done 15 or 20 versions of this. I get it right, huh?
You'd think, but all the versions of the Rep Ranger and stuff I've done, as I'm printing this one, I'm finding things I'm having to go and adjust in the model. Like I might have to adjust this hinge, and they're so tiny.
For this nozzle. But I also had to design it for different nozzles because come to find out I use a lot of the micro Swiss nozzles.
Yeah.
And come to find out they're like a half a millimeter shorter than regular E3D nozzles. So when you mount your little fan duct, it's dragging on the print bread. Or like me, I designed it for my Micro Swiss, and a couple of people went and got it for a regular Chimera with the stock nozzle and everything. Like, dude, the thing's blowing like right on the block. And it, a half a millimeter doesn't sound like much, but it's actually quite a bit. There.
Well, when it comes to these machines, yes.
Push some air through there. There's still not a lot up front. It's all out back. But it's better. It's definitely better. Wish there was a better way to actually see where this. I gotta get like a smoke machine or something. There's a lot of airflow there, so. Hey, YouTube says I'm wise.
I'm trying to salvage this hinge without having to reslice it and reprint it.
Which Chris? Steve. You got to give me more information, man. There's about 8 million Chris's. Oh, let's turn off the fan. I know it was a joke, but we can do it. It'll be fun for a little while. Well, I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. You got me 2 months of StreamYards.
Sweet.
Sweet. I wonder how Viking's doing. Where's he at? He's usually on here by now. You did a fund me thing too, didn't you? Were you trying to fund something?
Mm-mm. No, I haven't. I haven't even done any music live streams or anything. Although one's coming up, I think. One's fixing to have to happen. I've got too many people reaching out to me going, when are you going to stream? When are you going to stream? That's what happens when you have 5,000 people on Facebook. And they're like, seeing everybody else's streams, where's yours? I'm like, because they need it worse than I do. I've been trying to let them have it. Because most of them, that's their only income is gone right now.
Playing with Music Maker. I used to play all the time with GarageBand on the Macs.
Yeah,
I still have like a really fancy keyboard. I was looking down at it. I was cleaning out some of these shelves because it's right here in front of underneath the computer. I got some like shelves with all the crap I don't use every day. It was like covered in like a half an inch of dust. I'm like, I should probably just sell that thing. I haven't used it in so long. Then I whipped it out, downloaded all the software, and started playing with it again. It's like, you know what? That's fun. I don't think I will sell it.
done some songwriting, but I haven't come up with anything that I've liked.
Liked?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a big country music guy. I'm not. You shouldn't say I'm not big on country music. I can listen to it. It's just not my jam, you know. I'm an old classic rocker kind of guy.
It's paid my bills for over 10 years now.
Yeah. You must don't you get tired of it though after a while? I mean, no. Do you ever? You're not playing your own music when you're out on stage, though, right? Or
sometimes.
You do a what do you do? A mix of theirs and yours?
Yeah, it's primarily covers, but I'll sneak in 5 or 6 originals a show.
That's cool.
4 hours long.
I have watched a couple of your YouTube videos where you and your band are doing your own, and they're pretty good. I mean, again, I'm not big on country music. Nothing personal. It's not my jam. Everyone has their thing.
Right. It's the beauty of music. There's a music out there for everybody.
Yeah. Like I said, I can listen to country though. I mean, if someone puts it on, I'm not like, oh, shut it off. Like rap. I can't do rap. I'm sorry. There's like 3 rap songs in the world that I can listen to, and that's about it.
Depends on what rap we're talking about. I'm not into the like gangsta rap.
Yeah. And the other thing is I can appreciate it as music too. A lot of people are like, oh, you're just an ass. It's like, no, I appreciate the artistry of it. I don't have anything against rap unless it's like, oh, I'm going to kill everybody. And it's just, negative BS, just propaganda crap to make themselves happy or make themselves famous. But if it's, decent music like that Big Butt song, I'm sorry, I actually like that. It's just funny. It makes me laugh. It's not even that I like the music. It just makes me laugh every time I hear it.
There was a country music remake of that song.
Is there?
There is.
Oh, there is a country song I used to like. Now I can't remember it. It was like a story thing where she, I think it was a chick, was going on about, I don't know. It was one of those like referencey things. Like, have you ever heard Wet Dream, where the guy's constantly going on about, making everything fish related?
No.
You never heard Wet Dream?
Mm-mm.
It's an old 60s, 70s, like, comedy thing, like Weird Al Yankovic kind of thing. I don't think it was him. It's before his time, but the whole song is him going about, I blew a seal, keep my private life out of it, kind of thing. I mean, everything is fish related. It's all about, everything is based on fish. Can't really see it. It says something on it. I'm guessing that's the tailgate.
Yeah, it's a tailgate.
Oh, it's got the rip cord.
I saved hinges. I made them work.
What is up, Robbie Mack and Sean Butler and Michael Cassell and TK? What's up, TK? And who else did I miss? I haven't really been watching the chat. There's a whole 11 people watching us, Tanner. So,
it's because nobody else is streaming and everybody is bored. That's how I found you. I'm like, I'm so bored. Please, somebody stream. Please, anybody.
Well, there is this thing you can do it your damn self.
I haven't been in the mood.
I know. I wasn't gonna. It's getting tired of streaming too. I almost wanted to do a real video. And I was just like, what? I'm gonna redesign my little air duct thing there because I noticed it was not blowing as well. And that's bizarre. I wonder if that's the gloop. Look at that. See the glue line?
Yeah.
It turned all black over time. It wasn't like that when I glued it together.
Yeah, I've noticed gloop does some things to your
print
surfaces.
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
You can see there.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing I've noticed with it too, is it never really truly hardens again. That's one of the things they've been saying is you can't coat something with it because it'll blowing pains. Yeah. It'll stay soft for a long time. It takes a month to actually re-harden or some crap with the PLA.
Because it chemically melts the plastic. That's how it fuses the things together.
It's like good old-fashioned, Testors plastic model glue for PLA.
The same thing at the plastic weld stuff I used to use when I did I used to do my custom vehicles with styrene, cutting styrene and gluing it together. And the plastic weld stuff I used
you just got
melted and fused the styrene.
Yeah. Well, styrene and ABS and PVC. It's all same with like when I do plumbing. You really shouldn't. I mean, it locks it together, but it's a good 48, 72 hours before PVC glue is actually dry. Now you can run it. You can glue it together and do it because it still seals whether it's liquid or solid, but
Yeah.
it holds in like 30 seconds, but it doesn't solidify completely for like 72 hours or something like that. I don't know the exact number. We've had
somehow misplaced the back
pipe
seat.
move. Like if you build a big long stack and it's not supported somewhere, it'll actually settle.
We've got the front seats here, but I don't know what happened to the back seat.
You're sitting in it?
No. This is the what I've titled as the.
You're supposed to let it dry a bit.
This is what I've titled as the Rep Ranger Classic, and so it's got a back seat and a roll bar and all that kind of stuff. It looks more like a regular Jeep. And
ready or not? What's ready or not?
And the reason I've been wanting to print it is because if the frame adjustments I made to make it work, and so will the pickup truck version, and I'm working on an ambulance version. All those versions will work.
It's a Ricky Tanner song, Ready or Not? Is that one of your tunes?
Yeah. It's on Spotify, and although I don't usually promote Spotify because they rip you off as an artist. It's also on iTunes and all those online retailers.
iTunes has got to rip you off too, don't they?
Not really, no.
Really?
If
Apple
people
so much they don't have to rip you off.
If people actually buy the song, the 99 cents or whatever to buy the song, I get like 87 cents of that.
That's not bad.
No, and then the people who stream the song, like I had like 3,000 streams of it last quarter, and I think I got paid. I have to go back and look at my royalty statement, like $4 or $5. Yeah. Spotify, I had 20,000 streams of my music last quarter. I got 38 cents.
That's sad. But they are streaming it. They're not buying it. So
right.
That's still ridiculous. That's all they're getting.
38 cents.
What does Spotify cost now? It's like $30 a month, isn't it? $29 a month.
I don't know, but there's a reason that like so many of the big artists pulled their music off of Spotify.
I didn't even know. I thought Spotify went away, just like iHeartRadio. I didn't realize that was still around.
Yep.
That was like, I thought that was a fad and went away. I hadn't even heard of it in years. I don't know why people use that crap. There's Pandora and whatever
they
else.
use it because they want to listen to music, but they don't want to have to pay the artists.
Yeah, but they're paying Spotify. Spotify costs money, doesn't it?
Right, and then Spotify keeps all the money.
Yeah, but why not use Pandora or Apple Music or
and then Pandora
radio station ones that you don't pay for?
Pandora, I submitted my music to Pandora, which costs $150 per song to submit your songs. And then it goes through an approval process. And then if they determine they don't want the song, they keep the $150 and they don't play your music. Yeah,
it's dark because it's light out in the windows. So the camera's pointing at the window.
Yeah, I submitted Ready or Not. I spent the $150 to submit it. They decided to pass. So I spent the $150 and they don't play my song. So
yeah, that ain't good.
Yeah. But it cost me $150 for nothing.
I still play Pandora mostly because it's just easy. I mean, it's free. I mean, I get it free. So I beta tested for Pandora years and years and years ago. But you still have like
Thanks, Dan.
Amazon streams. That's free if you got Prime.
Right.
I don't know if you get paid for that or not.
I'd have to go back through the royalty statement. I don't think I had much impact from them, if any. I don't know.
I just don't get using the iHeart radios and the Spotify's and all of those when there's so many options that are cheaper and better. Not necessarily for you.
Right. The majority of my royalties comes from my live performances.
Yeah.
I report my live performances to BMI, and that's where probably 90% of my royalty income comes from.
Do you get anything from like YouTube? You actually got a pretty good following on YouTube when I looked last.
No,
really?
No, nothing. Zero. Yeah, 90% of my royalty income is from live performance, and which means whenever the royalty payment comes around for this quarter we're dealing with now, my royalty check is going to be non-existent because there have been no live performances. Well, so my royalty check will be $20, $30.
Well, I mean, it's not
for a quarter.
Sucks, but at least you got $20, you know.
Right, but
what I get.
I mean,
granted, I'm not writing music, so I don't deserve anything. But
right, my royalty checks are usually a nice little help.
Yeah, they're play money.
Well, that or just that's what pays for when we go on vacation or something. It'll pay for a hotel room for a week or whatever.
I used to do this thing where I don't even know how to describe it other than to say I used to do a handyman. You teach you to do it yourself, kind of like this old house, but I'd come and do it at your house.
Right.
And basically people would hire me. They get the use of me and my tools for a half a day. And I only charge them $25 and I show up, but I show them how to do it themselves. Like, I've had a bunch of old people down on the beaches that have one wall, south facing wall always wears out faster because of the salt water off the shore and blah, blah, blah. So the rest of the house, you can go 30, 40, 50 years and not have to reside. But the south-facing side, you have to reside every 5 or 10 years because it just gets blasted every time there's a storm off the shore, all the salt and crap. So they used to hire me. I'd come in, use my chop boxes and saws, and I would show them how to do it. And then I basically sit back and, I help them, but get people to do it. And that used to be my play money. I'd get $100 for Saturday morning. I'd show up at 8 and leave at noon and show them how to do it and say, you get to use some of my tools for these 4 hours. When we're all done, I'll tell you need to go buy this, 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 and this to continue on.
Right.
And that was my play money.
That sounds like a sound little business plan.
Yeah, it don't work for very long. For one, in Connecticut, you need all kinds of licenses, which kind of shut me down.
Oh, yeah.
Which I used to have all that crap, but it got stupid. They want you to know a bunch of crap that has absolutely no bearing on anything. Then, plus I'm like half crippled, so I can't walk around people's yards as well. And most of my tools are old and worn out now. I was looking at my chop box and I'm going, they still make that thing and it's almost 20 years old. They still make the same Hitachi. Now they cut it Metabow or Metabos because Hitachi tools got sold. I don't know if you guys realize, but there's no more Hitachi tools.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's all Metabow bought them out.
See, like in the music industry, the funny thing is when people buy out another company, they usually keep the company's name because that's what people know it as, and the average person doesn't realize that company doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, well, they're keeping it as Metabow HTV or HTD, Hitachi Tool Division. It's still Hitachi in the sense that, but Hitachi no longer owns it.
Right.
People don't realize Hitachi was one of the few companies that they owned everything that with their name on it. They didn't sub out. And Hitachi was. I mean, there was two kinds of Hitachi. When I used to sell electronics, which was Hitachi, there is Hitachi television, and there's their HIT Hitachi television. A Hitachi television, a true Hitachi, had a 5-year parts and labor warranty. Now, this was 10 years ago,
Right.
20 years ago. I don't know if they're still doing it. The HIT had just like everybody else. You had 90 days labor, 1 year electronics. Where if you got a true Hitachi, which would almost always be, even if you had a black bezel, would have that green kind of Hitachi tint to it. Everything true Hitachi had a green tint to it. Even if you bought a television,
Yeah.
it had a green something somewhere.
You know how that LG seemed to come out of nowhere?
Yeah, LG was around forever. They were a manufacturer.
And it's like LG's been around forever, guys.
Yeah.
The G in LG stands for Gold Star.
Yep.
It's like, you remember back in the 80s, the little Gold Star TV VCR combos and stuff? That they were the cheap, low-end, just junky stuff.
Well, it's the same
But
thing with
now
Samsung.
Lucky,
When
there's
I was
another company
selling
called Lucky
electronics,
that made high-end components. Lucky and Gold Star come together, started putting high-end components in the designs made by Gold Star, and you got Lucky Gold Star, which they shortened to LG.
LG was always a manufacturer years and years and years and years and years ago. They manufactured for other people.
Right. Well, that's what I said. The
People
L
don't
in LG
realize
is Lucky, and they made components for everybody.
Yeah.
And they were high-end quality components. And then you had Gold Star, which was like this budget brand.
Yeah. There's literally
and then when they
only
merged, they
4
became
electronic
LG.
manufacturers.
And it brought good things to the table, because then you got the quality components from Lucky being used in the Gold Star designs. Which there's an LG plant here in Clarksville that just opened up
for
about a year ago.
For years. Just like Samsung. When I sold electronics back in the 80s, Samsung was like bottom line crap. It's what we used to call the loss leader.
Right.
In the days when you could do that.
Now both of the monitors I'm looking at right now are Samsung.
Yeah. No, Samsung's good now, but
they were also cheap.
80s, it was, we'd put it in the ads when I worked at Lizer Sound, $99 VCR, and we'd have 3 or 4 of them in the store. And my whole job was to say, yeah, you really don't want that Samsung. You'd really rather have the Sanyo or the.
Well, I used to work in the electronics department
loss leaders. You made no
at
money
Sam's
at
Club.
Silver.
I was the early morning guy. I would come in before the store opened and put out the new stuff and stock the shelves and clean everything up, and then I would be there for a few hours once they opened up. And I can remember when you would see our line of televisions lined up, though, even though they were cheap, the Samsungs were the only ones that their black was actually black.
Yeah.
Everybody else, the black on the screen was either slightly blue or slightly green.
I'm looking for junk filament, not junk filament, but here we go. Some ugly ass yellow. I gotta, my knee's killing me. I went shopping and I was talking to, everyone sends these things off to the hospitals and stuff. I was talking to the cashiers and I had to go to the pharmacy, the people in the pharmacy. And I was talking to them about the ear savers and everyone like, yeah, I want those. So I'm going to print off a bunch of the ear savers and bring them to the shopping center and give them to the employees there and to the pharmacy. The pharmacist was like, holy crap, they're what? You did what? There was one lady there that actually had a barrel full of monkey that she was using as an ear saver. I thought that was awesome.
Looks like Martin Boss, am I saying that right? Checked out my song, I'm assuming Ready or Not, and thank you.
Cool.
Appreciate that.
You made a whole 89 cents. You know what, though? It all adds up.
It does. It does.
I mean, it may not be, the golden egg, but in the long run,
That song was inspired by playing hide and seek with my son years ago. My wife was making dinner, and my son kept going in the kitchen and bothering her. And she hollered for me and she said, "Rick, you got to do something to occupy the boy." So I took him outside. I said, "Play hide and seek, son. You go hide, and I'll count, and I'll come find you." And I literally had, while I was counting, had like this flashback to my childhood, and I thought about playing hide and seek with my friends when I was a kid, And then I thought about it for a minute. Life perpetually moves forward. It has to, but there are ways that little bits and pieces of it kind of move in circles on us, because here I was playing hide and seek as an adult, but now with my son, and so it inspired me to write that song.
Cool.
And now I play hide and seek with my grandson. Talk about another circle around. My grandson is 5. He's almost 6. He'll be 6 in June.
That doesn't.
He's terrible at hide and seek.
Ear savers 0.6. Print me.
He's still at that point where he thinks if he can't see me, that I can't see him. So he'll just be like hunkered down next to the bed with his eyes covered up.
That's cute.
Like, you're not even really behind the bed. I can see you from here, but you have to, for the sake of the game, you have to pretend like, where is he? I don't see him. And the whole time I'm doing that, he's giggling.
Kids are awesome, especially when they're someone else's. You can send them home.
Right? Yeah. That's why grandkids are even better than kids. Because he was supposed to spend the night the other night, and he came over and he was just crabby and grumpy and whiny and crying at every little thing. Oh. And my wife just called my stepdaughter and said, "Come get him. Come get him. He's in a bad mood, and I'm not dealing with it tonight." Because nothing made him happy. It's like everything he wanted to whine and cry and complain over, and it's the quarantine stuff is getting to him. He's so tired of being inside.
I was like the worst uncle ever, because I got 4 older brothers and they all have kids. My oldest brother's got 1, 2, 3, 4. I had to think about it. There's so many kids. I'm the uncle that would buy them the drum set for Christmas.
Oh yes, yeah. My wife is wanting to buy our grandson a drum kit.
Oh God, there was this thing that you used to pull when we were kids. I can't even remember the name of it. It was kind of like an accordion, but it would make this. I don't know if you ever saw those. It would spin. You pull it, and it would spin, and you just keep going like this and go faster and faster and faster.
Yeah. Okay.
But they had one with like a whistle in it. And the faster you got it going, the louder it would go. I got all my nieces and nephews that for Christmas.
Of course you did.
And it makes this high-pitched whine. Oh, God. Yeah, my nieces and nephews now have kids, and some of them are getting to be, old enough. They're still young, but, there's a couple of them that are like 9 or 10 now. I've been thinking about, have you seen that 3D printed air horn where you can crank it and it sounds like an air horn?
No, I have not, but I don't want my grandson to see that either.
So want to print one of those and
he'll want one.
Give it to my nieces and nephews.
I had to print something for him the other day, and he broke it in no time flat. And while he wasn't here, because he's one of those out of sight, out of mind kids.
Yeah.
He'll never ask for it again if I just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because I glooped it like 5 times, and every time he'd break it in a new place. And I'm like, okay, I'm done glooping it. So after he went home, I just threw it away.
I was gonna say I'll find out the air duct works better, but
yeah, Dan, you can get with me on Twitter. I'll send you a couple options, and I appreciate that.
You got a PayPal? I'll put it on the ticker real quick. Just post it in the forum if you want.
Well, I can view the chat, but I don't have any place to type.
What is it?
Let me open up the.
You should be able to type it.
I don't have the.
Go
I
to
don't
the
have
StreamYard's chat and type it right in the StreamYard's chat.
Can you?
Yeah. StreamYard's chat's a regular chat, and it'll go to both locations.
Well, I'm not seeing a box to put anything in.
You got to open it up. There should be comments over on the right.
Yeah.
Click on the comments.
Right, but I have no place to reply. There's no box to reply. If I go over to the private chat, there's a place to reply there.
Share your screen.
Hold on.
No, you can type in the chat because you can type into the private chat.
Okay, I'll put it in the private chat.
Yeah, and then I'll just.
If I can type today.
PayPal me. You type that real quick.
Yeah, like I said, there's no place for me to put it over in the live comments. I can't.
There should be. All right, there now. Structural engineer. That's not an engineer. That's a structural testing.
See, you can see on my. There's no place to type.
I hit the wrong damn thing.
When I go to private chat, there's a place for me to type.
Really?
But over in the live comments, there's no place for me to type.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do is you could just, I always, when I'm watching, the only reason I'm not is because I'm streaming to both. If I'm watching, I always use YouTube's chat anyways because it's faster. The StreamYard's chat's like 20, 30 seconds behind, if not more.
Yeah, Martin, I've been a full-time musician since July 15th of 2009. It just put a roof over my family's head and food on their plate, and that's all I've done is play music. And
yeah, you lie. Your wife pays all the bills. We know.
She is right now.
I know.
She is right now.
About that.
But we always get that.
She's a nurse, right?
No, she's her exact title escapes me because it's long and drawn out now. She was a phlebotomist for 20 years. That was easy for me to remember. But she just recently switched jobs, and after she got her medical coding certification and medical office business
She's in administration. The medical profession.
Yeah. So now she works for Tennessee Oncology, and she reviews people's accounts and their lab testing stuff, and tries to get insurance to pay for it or get pre-approval for it and stuff like that for people who have cancer. So
she's more of a paperwork person now.
Yes. Yes. So she's finally putting the education that she spent the last 2 years acquiring to use, and she's killing it. She's doing great.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Our dynamic has always been, during the warm months, I make more money than she does, and then during the winter, she makes more money than I do, and between the two of us, we're pretty equal contributors. And
what's wrong with that?
But it won't be long. She'll be blowing me away.
Yeah, it keeps up.
Because her where she's working now, she's going to end up with one of those. She's in middle management now. Yeah. She's the head of a department. But it's a brand new department, so she's the head of a department of one. But they've got a plan in place where she's going to have like 20 employees within the next year, and her salary will go through the roof, and she'll be more upper management.
What's up, Manny Jake?
So she's killing it. Couldn't be more proud of her. She's awesome. My wife rocks. That way, when this music thing won't work anymore, because that day's coming. I mean, I'm 43 years old.
You're
The
still
day's
young.
coming where music won't be viable anymore for me. Um,
Then you can be a garbage man.
end up
I did that every summer. Probably I shouldn't say every summer. For like
end
3
up driving a
summers
forklift again is what'll happen.
when I was in high school. The two things I did is I worked at the schools on occasion. During the summer, I worked at the schools. Every summer they like strip the floors and clean everything. I did that for a couple of years in junior high. And then most of my junior, and senior year, I worked the garbage trucks on the summer. It's always busier here because this town's a beach town.
Right. Oh yeah.
So I did the garbage trucks, and we're talking 70s, 80s. I made a freaking killing.
Well,
back then we didn't care.
Garbage men are paid well, and they should be.
Well, he just paid us cash because it was a single. The town pays for our garbage here.
Right.
It's a private.
But garbage men are paid well, and they should be.
But he used to pay us like $20 a day, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in the 70s that was actually a pretty decent income for a teenager, considering minimum wage was $1.75 at the time. But the other thing is people you go out, especially in the beaches, and people are like cleaning out their beach houses every week because they rent them. They're all rentals. So they clean them out every Monday morning, and
you go down on the beachfront and these
and they're like, "Oh, here's $20,
and nobody owns anything."
This, and this. So we make a couple $100 sometimes on a Monday.
Cool.
We all split it depending on who gets what route. We all meet at the bar at noon because you do all the residentials and then you do all the commercial at the end of the day, and by noon you're done. And the last two places we'd hit was the beach bars. So we always hit the beach bars at noon. You go up, you take their dumpster, the beach bars all come and say, "Come on in, have a couple drinks on us," and you sit there and get shit-faced for free. And then, we'd all divide it up. And we used to race to who'd get to the bar first so you could get the first round free. But I'd make a couple $100 on a Monday, easily.
Cool.
Back in the day when nobody gave a crap. Now it's all, it's a recycling center. We don't actually have a dump anymore. I'll never forget this one time. This guy's stripping his house. He's remodeling it. And he had a hot water tank. And he's like, "Can you guys take this hot water tank?" My cousin was actually driving the truck that day. And he goes, "Sure." And he puts it in the hopper. And it's back when the old hoppers, they didn't have the automatic dumper and all that crap. It was an old crush hopper. And he is freaking trying to get this goddamn thing into the hopper, and it wouldn't fit. It was massive. And he's just forking it, and it's jamming and jamming. And finally he said, "You know what? We'll just go to the dumper, dump the thing now." He could not get that thing to go into the hopper and get pushed up into the machine. It was funny. Right in half, too. That and getting pulled over by the cops. We used to, every year we get the new, because every year, again, it's a beach town. We go from one cop all winter to like 12 or 13 cops in the summer.
Right.
They're all rent-a-cop kids and everything. Every year we'd get pulled over. There's no registration on this truck, and they'd call it in. And the chief would call him back and say, "Let the freaking guy go unless you want to hop on a freaking garbage truck, go pick it up. Leave him alone." Unless you're going to run around in your cruiser and pick up all the garbage. Leave him alone.
My wife's from a tiny town, and they have one police officer there. Yeah. And he's famous for, if he doesn't recognize your car, you're getting pulled over. Because it's a town of 500 people. So I can't tell you how many times I would go to visit my in-laws and I would get pulled over just because he didn't know my car. And then I would say, "Well, I'm married to Tanya Cookson." And I was like, "Oh, okay, have a good day."
Oh, yeah.
He just wanted to make sure that somebody wasn't passing through and causing trouble.
What's even worse is when the cop lives here in your driveway. Growing up, he lived right at the end of my driveway. So I'm like cruising around one Friday night, and again, when I was a kid, I could literally drive around town on a Friday night in the middle of the winter and not see another car. Not happening now. Half these beach houses are all year round now. They've all been modified, but back then you could literally drive all around town and not see another car. Anyways, I'm cruising up Whipple Road, which is this wicked back road, and the cop pulls up and he flips his headlights on or his lights on, starts chasing me. I'm like, I'm in a 1966 station wagon. I'll blow him off. Yeah, stupid teenage kid I am. So I start cranking down the road at ridiculous speeds, and I lost him. I'm like, cool. So we go out drinking. Come home at, I don't know, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. There he is sitting at my dining room table with my father having coffee.
You're screwed.
Like,
yeah.
Like, yeah, you know, I had a 66 Chevelle station wagon with flames painted all over it. Like, he didn't know whose car that was.
Right. Yeah. I know where he lives. Never mind.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not going to chase you. That's just going to cause an accident. I'll just wait for you at home.
Yeah. A coworker of mine, he like vanished for a week. No one knew where he was or nothing. And when he come back, it was when I was working at Aventus Pharmaceuticals, one of the guys that worked on the docks. And so I had to cover for him while he was gone, and nobody knew where he was. I'm sure maybe the bosses did, but they weren't telling. And a week later, he comes back and he's like, "Where were you, man?" He was in jail. He was in jail because he had a Honda motorcycle that he used to like to a hot rod around in. It was forget, I want to say 900cc. Anyway, he was doing 120 when he went by a cop. And the cop pulled out and started to chase him. He said he reached speeds probably of over 150 by the time it was all said and done. He said they had the helicopters out and everything, and said he said you can't outrun a helicopter on the highways. He's like, eventually, he said, I came around a curve to they had shut the highway down and had like 6 cop cars lined up staggered with a bunch of cops out with their shotguns drawn. He's like, that's when I had to put the brakes on. Yeah. I'm like, I'm surprised you were out in a week. And he's like, well, he's like, my uncle's an attorney.
Yeah. We used to do some dumbass crap when I was a kid. Really stupid. That's why I never owned a motorcycle, because I like them too much. Every time I got in a motorcycle, I owned a Harley for a day. Got a really nice Harley. Long story. It was beautiful. Drove it up to Middletown, and I kept going, it's a Harley. You can ride it slow. Because, every time I get on a rice burner, I'm doing 120 going down the highway. I get on this freaking thing, and I go up to Middletown, which is, 20 minutes away from here. I get into Middletown, I'm just cruising, not even paying. You don't pay attention to you don't look at the speedometer, you just cruise. Right. I look at my speedometer as I get into Middletown because the traffic's getting thick, and I'm like blown by cars. I'm like, how fast am I going? 130 miles an hour. I'm like, you know what? Turned around, brought it back. Said, here's your motorcycle back. I cannot have one of these things. I will end up dead.
They're too easy to go too fast, and there's not much protecting you if you have an accident.
I'm just one of those people that, I get on it, and I don't drive a speed. I drive what feels comfortable. Even in a car, if it's a straight ass road, I'm driving 70, 75. I'm sorry. I'm just going to do it because
I'm usually just kind of paying attention to the cars around me, making sure if I'm not whizzing past everybody, I figure I'm fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's worse here now because our traffic's so thick because, again, it's all beach towns, but in the last 10 years, almost everybody has converted their homes to year round. So the population around here is like quadrupled in the winter in the last 10, 15 years. But you used to be able to drive down the highway and not see another car at 8, 9 o'clock at night, in the winter. I mean, you would not see another set of headlights at 8 or 9 o'clock at night in the winter. Once it got dark, there was nobody around. Now, back then, you could drive down the highway, 80, 90 miles an hour, and nobody gave a crap.
One of the other reasons we want to move and we want to buy a home, and we want to buy one closer to Nashville, because now that she's working in Nashville and I'm working in Nashville, because she used to work here in Clarksville.
Yeah.
And she was 3 minutes from work. And so I was commuting back and forth to Nashville 106 miles round trip every day. But now she works in Nashville, 106 miles round trip every day, and I work in Nashville. So we're racking up the miles and spending the gas money now, so we want to move closer, and so that's the plan. But the other reason is this subdivision we live in. It's getting they built a new subdivision since we moved in here.
Yeah.
Right across the major street where you turn out of our subdivision. And so now it's next to, in order to go towards the highway, we got to make a left-hand turn out of the subdivision. It can take you 5-10 minutes to find a hole big enough that you can pull out in now. And they're building another subdivision right across from where our exit spot is. So I'm like, when they get that subdivision open, unless they put in a stoplight, you're never going to get out of this subdivision, or you're going to have to turn right and go down for a couple miles and turn around.
That's what I used to do when I worked at the state park.
Because you'll never get a left.
Yeah. Again, in the summertime, I used to work at the state park 10 years ago. Just part-time, hanging out on the weekends. You make some play money. But in the summer, the state park, it's a beach. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's packed, and you try and get out of there at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you can't get out. You can't get out and take a left out of there. And everyone would sit there and wait and wait and wait. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like, what do you mean? I said, you go out, you take a right, you go down to the bar, which has a light, turn around in the bar, and use the light. And so many of the guys I used to work with would sit there. All right, go right, because, it's a 2-lane exit out of the park. I'd go right, turn around, come back, and be waving at them as I drive by. I'm like, why do you sit there and wait, you dumbasses? It's like, take a right.
Because of the way this subdivision's set up, even if you want to take a right, if the 4 cars in front of you are all waiting to take a left, you're waiting for all of them to take a left. So, I'm like, no, and they're not going to put in a stoplight. It took them forever to finally put one in at the end of that major road. They just put that in about a year ago, because we'd get down to the end of that major road and we still had just a stop sign, and it seemed like every 2 or 3 days you'd hear the sirens on their way down to a wreck of somebody trying to turn out left and somebody else just T-boning them.
Yeah. Happens all the time.
They finally put in a light, but they'll never put in a light out here because it's just this little narrow 2-lane highway.
3D printing and ping. Yeah, no, we're getting the state park's supposed to put we put an exit in the Rocky Neck connector, the Rocky Neck State Park. They did that like 25, 30 years ago. They were supposed to do like direct into the park. Now you come down the Rocky Neck connector and then you have to go like a half a mile down and enter the beach, where it was originally designed to go straight, you go straight in to the park and then, be a big long, and they never finished it because, money, freaking whatever. They got all the money for it, I don't know, 15 years ago, and then the big crash happened. All that money went away. So now it's still a cluster fuck in that area trying to drive in the summer. I mean, the weekend, I don't even go that way. If I have to go to Niantic, I'll go all the way out to the other end of town and come across and come back down, then try and go the 1.5 miles that way. It's only like 1.5 miles away.
Clarksville's just growing so fast that,
those areas too.
Nothing can keep up with it.
Packed. It used to be dead, and now it's packed. I can't believe how many people were out and about today when I went shopping. There was like cars everywhere and people everywhere in the shopping center. It's like, don't you people know because last night the governor we're actually in shutdown now. You are not supposed to go out unless you absolutely have to. Blah blah blah. Because we're we're right on the fringe of the whole New York, and we're increasing rapidly here in Connecticut. And actually, I guess last night it decreased, but the governor did the full shutdown. You have to wear a mask if you go out in public, blah, 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 no more than 2 or 3 people. We used to be 10. I don't know. It was all kinds of stupid regulations, which are fine, whatever. But there was more people out today than I've seen in the last month. It's like, don't you people know we're supposed to be shut down? Even worse.
Oh, yeah. I went out for some essential groceries last night, and it was still, there's people everywhere.
I know. We got to stop talking about coronavirus crap because it's depressing. 3D printing. What are you printing now, Tanner? How come your printers aren't running behind you?
Because it's loud.
It is loud. That's why I have quiet ones.
It's a CR10S4 with noisy fans.
You know what are quiet? Believe it or not. What the hell's the name of that thing? Oh, it's running, so I won't be able to read it. They're regular size, and they're not quite as quiet as Noctura fans are, but they're a lot more airflow. I think they're like night something. They are good fans and they're cheap too. I mean, they're like $10, not $20 like a Noctura.
Well, see, if I'm not like involved in a stream or anything, the noise didn't bother me.
Yeah, see, the noise bothers me all the time. Again, it's right here in my freaking room. So
yeah, the noise doesn't bother me. In fact, I like listening to the stepper noise.
see, no, it drives me nuts.
Yeah, I like the stepper noises. It's kind of like a little tune, you know. But it's the fans that I don't care for. And I suck at soldering, so I don't want to replace the fans.
I don't solder either. I have the little noise blocker, black silent fans. They're cheap too. I think I paid like $8 or $9 a piece for them.
The fan that's noisy is the one that's in the control box.
Yeah, well, that's
the fan that's annoying.
That's the other thing too. I don't know. Well, you can see it. I immediately take because they always burn up anyways for me, so I have to have all my fans because of the salt air and crap. I don't know. I'm guessing in the salt air, but all the power supply fans within 6 months of me getting a power supply, they start grinding and squealing. So I get bigger ones, cut a big ass hole into it, and put. I think that's like an 80 or 90 millimeter fan, and I just screw on the outside case, cut a big hole in the case, and wire it up.
And then the TiVo Tornado over here is aptly named. All its fans are loud.
Yeah.
Everything about it is loud.
Well, don't solder. Get the stupid heat gun connectors where you just strip the wire and you put the what do you call it? Heat shrink tube over it. Mm-hmm. There's a new heat shrink tube that has a little piece of solder in the middle.
Yeah, I saw that. I got recommended that on a Facebook ad the other day.
Yeah, no, they're awesome, dude. I got whole bunches of them, and they work, and it's awesome.
Really?
Yeah. The only thing you got to do is you can't like use it on your heat bed or your hot end, or at least not close to the hot end, because it's a low temperature solder, so it'll reliquefy. But all of my connectors are done like that, unless I actually make a connector. And they're cheap. They're like, I think I got like 50 of them for like $4 or something on Amazon.
Because I saw the thermistor on the A8 there, and you'd think just soldering two little wires, someone who knows what they're doing, that would be what, 2-3 minutes?
Yeah.
I
hate soldering.
It took me half an hour.
Yeah. I'm terrible at soldering. That's why I got those things. The only thing I don't like about them is they're kind of big, because it's a big, long heat shrink tube.
Yeah.
Not, I usually, if I do it, I put a little piece in. But I've gotten to the point where now I just make my own connector. Not that I'm good at that either, because it's so tiny and I'm so old and blind, I can't see them half the time. And I usually have my glasses on and a magnifying glass on top of that so I can see the damn connector pin. But that's still the best, is making your own connectors if you can. And everything. I connect everything. Everything is on a quick release on this thing because I'm constantly screwing with it. I can't stand having to rerun wires every time.
Yeah, I don't have a good soldering iron. I have I think it was $20. I have a $20 soldering iron.
Yeah, it's a good iron does help.
Yeah.
My brother gave me one because his company, he works in an electronics company. Every 2 years, they replace them automatically.
Mm-hmm.
They get used constantly all day long, every day. So he gave me his old one. And,
but I don't have much call for soldering because, like I said, I bought it. I bought that soldering iron just to solder the thermistor on the A8, and I haven't used it again.
Yeah. Dude, you should get those heat shrink hot air gun ones. They work beautifully. The only thing I've noticed is my hot air gun isn't quite hot enough, so I hit it with the hot air gun, get it all trapped, still shrinks, and then I use a lighter and I get the solder to melt. You just have to be careful because it'll burn right through the heat shrink tube if you get the flame too close. But if you got a good high temperature hot air gun, it won't matter anyways. But they water seal too. They're watertight. What's up, Jimmy? How you feeling, man? You still sick? Well, that's a decent hot air gun. You should have no problem with that.
So yeah, so Wagner. That's my heat gun.
Yeah, mine's a little.
It only has 2 heat settings on it. It's low or high, but it gets hot. It gets hot enough.
This gets warm enough to heat shrink too, but it doesn't get hot enough to do the solder.
Because I was using this. I went and bought this when we had a sink spring a leak, and it soaked all the subflooring.
Oh, you need more than that.
No, this did a good job. It just took a while.
You need a full
Because
evacuator.
I was able to. You just leave it in one spot until the dark spot would go away, and then it would start turning dark the other way, and that's when it was time to move it away.
You start burning it.
Yeah. And it was funny because I was drying it up before I decided to put down laminate flooring in that room. It still had the carpet tacks down, and if you'd have it on a spot where the carpet tack was, you could see like all the little pieces of stuff that would still be stuck to the carpet tack. You'd watch it turn orange and fiery red and just like burn off.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, "You're going to start a fire," and I'm like, "First off, I'm not walking off and leaving it. It's in my hand. I'm looking at it while it's doing its thing."
That's what I use 3D printing paint too. Like,
and I'm like, secondly, have you ever tried to start? It's like, how many times have we tried to start a fire in the fireplace and the log wasn't completely dry? We're talking about standing water on the subfloor. I was like, how long is it going to take for that to catch fire?
not as long as you think sometimes. It'll dry out pretty fast if you let it.
Yeah, so that's how I dried out the spot, and then I put down that laminate flooring, and I was like, this happens again, it won't get through to the subfloor.
To get a fire, I need a freaking damn weather. Me and my neighbors want to have a socially distanced fire, where we all sit around and drink.
Right.
We've had so many windstorms. We've all been collecting our, dead drop. I have huge piles of it out there. Normally we just, Friday, Saturday night, Sunday night, we'll have a little bonfire and we'll all hang out and drink a bottle of wine and have some beers or whatever.
So how far are you from the beach?
And the weather's been so crappy that every time we go to do it, it's either like 90-mile-an-hour winds, which there's no way in hell we're going to freaking have a fire.
Right.
Or it's raining.
How far are you from the beach?
Less than a mile.
Oh, wow.
I mean, literally, if you get right down to it, right outside my window is sort of the beach. But I have to go a mile in either direction to get to the beach.
So do you like seafood, and do you eat much of it?
I do, and I don't.
See, I love seafood, but there's a drastic difference in quality between when I've been someplace on a coast where you're getting the stuff that was caught that day versus.
Believe it or not, there's not that much seafood around here anymore. It's all out in Rhode Island. None of the ports here, they've all gone military. I mean, everything around here is either sub base or electric boat, or there's or pleasure cruising. There's very little commercial fishing around here anymore. There's the two big commercial fishers went under like 15 years ago, and a bunch of mini charter boats bought it all up, and they put the docks up, and there's like 30 or 40 charter boats around here where you can you give them a couple $100 and they take you out blue fishing or whatever for the day. There's really not. You have to go all the way out to like Gales Ferry or something to get or
Because
point.
obviously in Tennessee, everything we get here has either been frozen or been on ice for
Yeah. See, that's
a
the other
while.
thing is like crabs and sea and shellfish and stuff. You can't eat any of that local here because the um, power plant. We have a nuclear power plant right here. Spilled a whole bunch of mercury out like 10 years ago, and the place is all polluted. So we can't eat any local seafood. Can't eat any local lobster. Can't eat any local
Well,
crabs.
that sucks.
Not that people don't, because they still do, but they can't sell it.
Right.
It's all full of lead or mercury, one or the other. Everything around here is mercury content. It's high. We got everything right here. Because it's like, this is military central because it's right at the mouth of the sound. So you have the sub base and you have EB and you have like 4 National Guard ports. We have Coast Guard. Then you go across the sound because it's right at the mouth of the sound. And you have all the government chemical testing places are out on, we call it West Nile Isle. That's where we believe the West Nile virus actually came from. The government testing. Lyme disease. They've almost proven that Lyme disease came from West Nile Isle.
Our neighbors, of course, is here in Clarksville is Fort Campbell. So the 101st Airborne fly over my house all day.
Yeah. Well, our National Guard port, it's 5-6 miles that way. It's on the other end of town. Used to be a regular National Guard. Now it's actually the National Terrorist Training Camp. There used to be a runway out there, and last governor 10 years ago shut down all the A-10s, so we don't need a runway anymore. Everything's F-16s, which none of the mini runways can take off of. So all of our National Guard Air Force is out in the center of the state, up in Hartford. And so they shut it down, and they put up a bunch of little stick buildings, and that's where they train terrorists.
I was
whatever.
I grew up in Belton, Missouri, and of course, when I was a kid, they still had Richard Scabar Air Force Base, and so we had the A-10s.
Oh, the A-10s are awesome. I used to love them. I don't know why they shut them down.
They would do practice bombing runs and stuff like that, and you always knew when they were doing it because you'd hear in the distance you'd hear boom, 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 and you could actually see where I lived. You could see the plumes of smoke that were coming up from their practice bombs.
Yeah, and all they are is big dummies. They don't even explode or anything. They just hit the ground and go. All the dirt goes out.
They still throw dirt in the air.
Oh yeah,
a mile high.
They hit hard. I don't know why they decommissioned the A-10s because it's still one of the few slow-moving. For one, it's really good at taking out tanks. All right, the Cobra helicopter is way better for taking out a tank because it's more, dynamic flying.
I think it was probably the difficulty of
F-16 and win.
It was probably the difficulty of rearming that Gatling gun.
Yeah, that's difficult, and they're just antiques too, and keeping them running.
That Gatling gun created so much recoil that they had to throttle up before they could pull the trigger on it because the recoil on the Gatling gun would actually stall the engines.
And they're so cool looking.
It was firing spent uranium tip armor piercing shells.
Yeah. Well, if they wanted to, they had those.
Right. It would cut right through the armor of a tank like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah, no, they were cool.
They could literally cut a tank in half.
I thought the A-10 was like one of the coolest jets ever. How to dry brush.
They were no good in a dogfight, though.
Well, see, that's the other thing is it's not necessarily true. Because like I was saying, there was a guy that used to do all kinds of stuff here for the National Guard. And he proved that like a newer MiG, whatever, or the F-16, not the F-15 because it can actually fly slower, but an A-10 could take on an F-16 and win for the simple fact that it could fly slower and lower to where they couldn't get a lock on it.
Mm-hmm.
And the F-16 couldn't fly slow enough. So if the F-16 got on his tail, he just drops to the ground, and the F-16 has to fly by. He pulls up behind it and takes it out. Because
And then you got those uranium tip shells coming your way.
I mean, this was, obviously there's more to it than that, and I'm no aerodynamic, whatever strategic guy, but there used to be a National Guard guy that used to brag about how he can take an A-10 and beat an F-16 in some of the newer MiGs because they fly too fast. They have to go too fast and stay in the air.
But now with our current fighter jet, which is shared worldwide, is with the F-35.
I don't know. I don't really follow it anymore. The Eurojet is actually one of the better that I've seen. That, I read about it. I don't.
Which the F-35 is capable of. Can be the F-35 is like this modular jet design, which can be outfitted to do numerous different things, including VTOL.
Yeah. Well, that's the one that kind of looks like the stealth bomber, right?
A little bit. Yeah, it's the XF-35 Joint Strike Fighter, which is the first contract that they allowed to go outside the U.S. See, U.S. maintained air superiority for the longest time because the only way other countries could get a hold of their high-end jets were after they were no longer high-end.
Yeah.
After they had replaced it with something else, then they would sell it to another country. But now other countries have the XF-35 as well. So,
well, the other jet I used to love, just love the looks of. It wasn't actually, from what I understand, that great. Was the old Saab from the 60s and 70s. It was on Delta. That was a beautiful looking plane.
I've still got a soft spot in my heart for the old F-14 Tomcat.
Yeah, me too.
Even though it was highly inefficient.
The F-14 was cool.
Yeah.
What's the one with the bent wing? Corsair? Is that it?
Yeah.
I just thought that was cool with the bent wing and everything.
And of course, being being a little kid in the 80s, of course there was the whole Top Gun and watching the F-14 Tomcats and in Top Gun is
Well, the cool thing about the F-14 is with the scissor wing, it's one of those that can fly slow when it needs to, but still do perform like a jet, and it's just so freaking overpowered for what it is.
And horrible fuel economy. It had very little range.
Yeah, no, it wasn't really made fuel economy.
No, well, that's why it took off from aircraft carriers. The aircraft carrier would get close to where it was going to attack, and then it would take off from the aircraft carrier, and then come back and land on the carrier.
I mean, the Harriers are cool too, but they're not exactly
the jump jet. Yeah.
Oh, phone's ringing.
But see, the new XF-35 can do what the Harrier could do with the vertical takeoff and landing. And the crazy part is it rotates its whole thruster.
I'm here to add some blue to it. What do you think? Should I add some blue to it? I think there's enough there to do that a little bit. Let's change some filament out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the new Top Gun movie too.
Yeah, it should be all right. I mean, nozzle heating. Why would the nozzle ever get cold? I got to rewrite the filament changing script and built into the firmware. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now I got the hiccups.
I'm going to grab a beverage. I'll be right back.
You do that. What time is it? Oh, it's almost noon. I'm going to have to kill it and go feed Mom. Mom needs her lunch. She couldn't wait. Because she really doesn't eat lunch. Come on, tell me you sucked it up. Yeah, baby. Continue. Continue printing. Stay true to the story. Well, the last one ended with him becoming a teacher, right? Yeah. So, who knows? And are they going to use him? Because he is kind of old now.
Just killed some sort of flying insect that was, no joke, the size of my hand.
Cool.
It's huge.
So you got dinner now.
That thinking of that though reminds me of what movie was it? Gosh, it was a caveman movie, and Ringo Starr was in it.
Oh God!
You remember that? And the big bug lands on his face.
Wasn't that just called Caveman?
It might have been. It was hilarious back in the day.
I couldn't even tell you what it was about. I know I watched it, but I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, I believe it was a mayfly. Dan, its legs were literally the span of its legs were literally the size of my hand, and I have big hands. It was huge.
Printing away, make little faces on them now, so that everyone can know it's a face mask thing. Have you seen that where I did that? I put a little mask on it, so it looks like a little.
Oh, cool.
Just for, because why can't they be cute and fun, right? Other than it's a pain in the ass to change the filament in the middle of the bread.
Yeah, I guess I supplied my wife's work with enough because I said, if you need more, let me know and I'll print more. And my wife said they didn't ask for any more. So
bringing these to the grocery store, because the minute I mentioned it, everybody at the grocery store, like 3 cashiers down, freaking all heard it. We're like, yeah. I guess they, you wear them all day long. They must hurt your ears after a while. The rubber band. They're all wearing the blue papery fabric. I tried printing
some on my A8, and it just doesn't print them smooth enough. And I'm like, I don't want like jagged edges on it. So yeah. I can print them on the Tornado and on the S4.
You put a bigger nozzle on it, smooth it right out.
But I can't get that A8 to print smooth for nothing.
That sounds like an issue.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to get rid of it. I bought it for $70, put a new hot end on it and some frame bracing pieces, and I had to rewire the whole thing because the person that had done it wrong. So
that happens.
And it's amazing. Around here, people are putting up 3D printers. Somebody had the Trunksy version of the ANET A8. It's just ANET A8 that's been rebranded as a Trunksy.
Yep.
And they were trying to sell it for $250 on Craigslist.
God. Dude, there's ANET A8s that I was on Facebook. I did it the other day when I was streaming, like a week ago. I just, went on the Facebook Marketplace and looked them up. There's people trying to sell the ANET A8 for like $350, $400.
Yeah,
like,
I'm
stop
like,
it's used.
They're 150 new. What are you doing?
People are dumb.
So I think I'm going to sell the Tornado and the A8, and I haven't decided what to get because I barely use the Tornado because it's obnoxiously loud.
Yeah,
and I don't want to put
fixable. I mean. $50.
And I don't want to put time and work into a printer that's just not a very good printer to begin with. It just isn't.
No, this wasn't either, but I made it good.
Right.
It's not great. I would not.
I could put a lot of time and money and work into it and make it good, but why?
Because it's fun.
Well, see, I don't enjoy that end of it as much.
I do.
I want a printer. I want a printer that I can just put my SD file on the SD card, slap it in, and hit print.
In other words, you either want a Prusa if you got $1,000, or you just want a freaking Ender 3.
Well, and my S4, I can just print, just push go. I have to watch the first layer. After I watch the first layer and the first layer goes down, I can walk away.
Yep. pretty much where this is now. I don't even really have to watch the first layer. I got it all dialed right in now. Still not. I haven't tuned it yet. I'm not getting really the best prints out of it yet.
But like the heat bed isn't flat on the Tornado. It's got two high spots.
Yeah, Blue Tape will take care of that.
Yeah, it's got two high spots on it, so you can get it where the first layer is perfect, except those two high spots in the middle, where then the first layer will be really thin. Yeah.
Has it got a glass bed on it or a regular?
No. It's just got one of those stickers on the aluminum, straight on the aluminum.
Oh, so you gotta get a flex plate and then you can flatten it right out.
Yeah. Well, again, that's money. I don't want to put money into it. But I'm
not big on.
I bought
the
Tornado and the Ender 2, which is now defunct, dead. I bought those two off of Chris Riley, including shipping, for like $200.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put any money into them.
Well, the TiVo could be. I mean, I'm not big on TiVo because they do not follow the Moreland open source crap at all. They have no safety setup on. They're very closed about everything they do.
And the Tornado, for some reason, when I flip the power on, it takes 5 minutes for the screen to actually come on and to show you that it's doing anything. It takes forever.
Yeah. They have their own board, don't they?
I think inside it's an MKS board.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
It's an MKS board.
And then so it takes forever to boot up. It heats up really quick. You know, that 120 volt AC heat bed just.
Yeah, see, I like that.
30 seconds, it's 60 C. I like that aspect of it, but everything else about it sucks. Everything just, it's got some sort of problem going on with a little bit of Z wobble in it, and it happens. I'd have to find a part. It happens like every 50 millimeters.
Yeah.
Every 50 millimeters, there's a little wobble.
Yep.
As it goes up, and I'm like, so between all that, I'm like, I just don't want to mess with it.
Kind of going to have that with any printer, though, when you get right down to it, unless you get lucky. I mean, even if you buy a Prusa, you can buy a Prusa, and some people love them, and they're absolutely, service-free. Other people
Michael.
have nothing but problems with them. It all depends on, rolling the dice as much as anything.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure the board that's in the Tornado is the same board that Mike Whaley burned up on stream.
Yeah.
It was the same one that he hooked the power up to backwards and fried on stream.
I haven't done that one yet. I've cooked a couple boards. Well, one of them was.
But you ran the positive to the positive and the negative to the negative.
One of them just burned up. They didn't believe me, and I did it on a live stream, and it literally it never smoked. It just wouldn't work, and then I hooked it up. Because actually,
his was a literal explosion. It was
no problem, but we'd like to see what's going on. So I literally put the positive and negative to it, hooked nothing else up, turned it on. I was sitting here on a live stream. I don't know if you saw it, but all of a sudden the thing started smoking. I was like, well, there you go. It's like they're
were you there when Mike,
nothing is hooked up.
Were you there when Mike blew his up?
Yeah, I remember that. I was watching that stream.
Yeah, I was in the chat.
Yeah, I had a big flame coming out of this thing when I put.
And everybody's like, "It's smoking," and he's like, "Where? I don't see it."
Driver though.
It's like everybody in chat can see it. Turn it off. And then he changed nothing and just flipped it back on again, and that's when it went.
Yep. Yeah, he was fun. He was an interesting character. To put it
absolutely. One of the most interesting in this community's ever seen.
Oh, it's all wrapped up funny.
Mornings on YouTube will never be the same.
There we go. Unwrap. Hopefully there's enough there to finish that. There's not much it's doing. It's just printing the little heads and the clips. so it shouldn't take much. Very little filament left. That's it. Trying to burn off all my little rolls. It's the perfect thing to do with these little ear saver things.
Oh yeah,
Burn off all
because they don't use that much filament.
Yeah.
So you can kind of burn through all your partial rolls.
Yep. Gonna have to buy some filament soon, but oh wait, that takes money.
Yeah, I haven't burned through mine yet. I still got filament.
Yep. I've still got some, but I'm getting down to the. All I have is like the protopastas and the polyalchemies and stuff like that, and I've done a few, but I don't really want to do ear savers out of that stuff. Kind of pricey ear savers.
Yeah, because what protopasta is about was
$30 for
30, 40 bucks for
a little more than a half roll.
Yeah,
I think it's a 3/4 roll or whatever, but it's $30 generally.
I haven't printed with any before. I was this close. The last time I stopped in a micro center when I was passing through St. Louis, because St. Louis is the closest micro center to me.
Yeah,
they had some protopasta there. They had a big bin of it, and
I like the colors. Sometimes it's hard to print with.
There was a color that intrigued me a lot. It was like a fluorescent green, but it had some glitter in it.
See, I like the darker ones. Like I have the mermaid green. I really like that. That's that dark kind of foresty green. It's wicked nice. Everything that protopasta makes pretty much has glitter in it. Except for the mattes. I have some of their matte red. That's kind of bizarre. It's got like, I guess it's actual plant-based fibers in it.
Oh yeah?
It literally comes out almost furry when you're done printing it, but it's all matte. It's kind of nice stuff. Print's really easy. I like it. Anyway,
yeah. I was tempted, but I didn't do it.
Yeah, it's one of those. I don't know. I bought it. I had money and I liked it, so I bought a bunch of it. There was a couple of colors I could not print. It kept jamming up in the nozzle. Remember, I sent a roll to Wiley. They had that Empire purple, Empire Strikes Back purple, which is almost black purple with the metallic in it. I couldn't get it to print. It just jammed up every single time. Wiley had no problem. I probably could now if I put it on the Core XY with the 8.8 nozzle. It probably would have printed without an issue. Look, yellow ones with little blue faces.
I had some filament that I had difficulty printing until I got the Bondtech Direct Drive.
Yeah, the thing I found with the Bondtech, I had the same problem with the feeding that I had with the Hemera. I'm having with the Hemeras. The thing I found with all these geared drives, if you're having problems feeding it, just jamming it through is probably not a good idea. Okay, why are you not releasing?
Yeah, I had some cheap filament that would not go through a Bowden tube. Just wouldn't.
Yeah.
It would always under extrude. And as soon as I cut the Bowden tube out of the equation.
Yeah.
But see, you gotta keep in mind the Bowden tube that was on the S4 is a very long Bowden tube.
Yeah.
And for every increased distance in a Bowden tube, that's that many more places where it can bind up and put more stress on the filament as it's trying to go through. And if you'd get a filament that was even slightly out of spec with that long of Bowden tube, it would either under extrude, jam, or blow a pneumatic fitting.
Yeah, I've discovered, and that's the one thing, like I have it on here now because it's the reverse Bowden, but the Capricorn tubing, I often had more problems with that than I did the cheap stuff for that very reason. If you got a cheap out of spec filament, it would just jam in it because
when I got the S4 from Robbie Mack, he had Capricorn tubing on it, and it's when I went from the Capricorn back to the cheap white stuff, I had less problems. And then when I went away from Bowden altogether and went direct drive, even less problems.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely a direct drive fan. I don't mind printing a little bit slower. You have to print. I've done both. Direct drive is just easier. It's smoother. It's easier. Less retractions.
My next printer, whatever it is going to either be direct drive or upgradable to direct drive.
Yeah. I really like the Mara, but the more I'm using it, the more I would say someone like you, I wouldn't recommend it just because changing the filament's a pain in the butt. It's constantly jamming every time I change the filament.
And see, that's what I love about this Bondtech the most. Changing filament is the easiest thing in the world.
See, my Bondtech, I had the same problem. The hot filament, when you retracted, old hot filament out, you heat it up, you squirt a little out, and then you retract it. I always got a little wind of plastic around the gears. And then you have to clean it, take the whole freaking thing apart, pain in the ass.
See, I haven't had that problem. Not even once. I hit the change filament thing. It pushes some through first, and then it backs it out.
Yeah.
And then I stick the next one in. I don't even have to bother with cutting it to an angle and all that kind of stuff. I just stick it in the top. I hit the button, and it just pulls it right in.
Yeah. I started using the Marlin stock change filament instead of doing it because normally I do it myself. Like I'm using Repetier on that one, but I'll either use Marlin or Octoprint or the Duet interface. And you extrude 5 or 10 millimeters of filament, and then you just hit 50 reverse when it's all done. If I do it manually, it'll jam. If I do it through the Marlin, it doesn't. And I think it's just how fast it switches over. I can't hit the buttons fast enough to get it go from extruding to extrude to reverse.
Right.
It starts cooling or whatever inside the hot end, where the Marlin does it. I mean, when I do it on this and I hit, change filament, it goes knee, and then it just freaking zooms it out wicked fast.
Yeah, and that's the same command I'm using on the S4, and I have no problems whatsoever.
Since I started doing that.
Now, like loading, talking about the Tornado being a pain in the butt. It's got the Bowden tube, it's got the cloned Titan extruder on it. And I have to not just snip at an angle. I have to snip all the way around so that it comes to a point like a pencil. Yeah. Or I can't get it to feed through that stupid Titan clone.
Yeah, I was never big on that.
It will get stuck somewhere. It'll hit a little ridge, something. Trying to get the filament to go through that to even get it into the Bowden tube to begin with takes me several tries usually. You can't just stick it in.
Anyway, I got to go feed Mom, and it's 12:15, so I'm going to kill it.
All right, bud. It was good hanging with you.
Glad you popped in.
And everybody in chat, it's good hanging with you guys too.
Thanks, Lightspeed. Big time. Appreciate it, buddy.